Yes, sir. Shoutouts to the intro. Welcome to Rich Talks, where we discuss music and cultural commentary. I'm your host, Unk, aka R.I.P s. Let's get to it. So first of all, I wanted to start things off with a rest in peace to rapper Yo Gotti's older brother and label manager, Big Jook, who was recently murdered, very violently might I add, after attending his uncle's funeral in Memphis. Now, there's a lot of controversy surrounding this particular passing, as there's rumblings that Big Jook's death was retaliation for the murder of rapper Young Dolph, who was killed a few years ago. Now, there's a lot that can be said about Dolph versus Yo Gotti's label, Collective Music Group, aka CMG. The beef history between them is actually pretty wild, honestly. Dolph had at least 2 previous attempts on his life before meeting his tragic end in 2021. Example, back in 2017, Dolph was beefing with CMG artist Black Youngsta, and it had escalated to the point where 100 shots were fired into Young Dolph's bulletproof SUV. Dolph would go on to mention it in an interview that he believed he was being targeted by Black Youngsta due to his beef with Yo Gotti. Black Youngsta and 2 other men would eventually turn themselves in regarding the incident, but the charges were dropped. Months later, in the same year, Dolph would get into a physical altercation with a few people in the lobby of the Lowe's Hotel in Hollywood, where he was shot several times, putting him in critical condition, but luckily he survived the incident. And at the time of the shooting, the police wanted to speak with Yo Gotti about the incident because it was reported that Yo Gotti and Dolph were staying at the Lowe's at the same time. So Yo Gotti himself was not involved in said physical altercation though, so just putting that out there. So there's been ongoing rumors surrounding Yo Gotti that he had something to do with the murder of Young Dolph, but it seems the rumor itself wasn't really tied to Yo Gotti specifically, but more so to his brother Big Jook, who had allegedly put out a $40,000 hit on Young Dolph's head at the time of his death. So, yeah, that's crazy. But to be taken out at a funeral reception, to me, is just wild. They really wanted that man gone, it seems. And I'm talking about Big Jook here, not Young Dolph. Whoever it was that did it, they really wanted him gone. This seemed very personal. Some rumors say that it was a get back for Dolph, while others say Big Jook had his own beefs that he was dealing with in Memphis. He had a beef with some Memphis kingpin or something, allegedly. And at the time of the funeral, or at least leading up to it, Big Jook was traveling all over Memphis, he didn't have a care in the world, as if people weren't even after him, only to find out later that the perpetrators were following him and his brother Yo Gotti all over Memphis for at least 24 to 48 hours before the incident took place. And normally I would say people are reading a little too much into things, but one thing that got me was the discussion about Big Jook's last social media post, a day before his passing. It really sounded kind of it was very ominous, and likely it leads you to believe that he either saw this coming or he himself was set up, but he didn't know who in his circle was the betrayer. So, anyways, the IG caption read, it was they don't want to face you, they want to snake you. Stay alert to stay alive. Watch your back at all times. Put snakes on a plate and eat great. Man, if that doesn't sound cryptic as hell, but you know what? Damn, do I want to say it? Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna say it. Fuck it. Yo, we really gotta bring back community, man. Because this revenge shit helps nobody. There's the saying that revenge is a dish best served cold, right? First of all, revenge is not a dish. If I had to compare it to something, I'd say the act of revenge is like an Ouroboros. An Ouroboros is like a snake that eats its own tail. The Ouroboros symbol, it represents the continuous cycle of destruction and rebirth. It's similar to the infinity symbol, if you will, but just one circle, I guess. And reading about Yo Gotti losing his brother got me thinking, like, now I'm about to get a little personal here. Like, I've experienced the pain that comes with losing a sibling before their time, and also in a violent manner. And the pain that comes with it, like, man, I can't even quantify it for you. Like, I don't think there's an analogy I can come up with that would, like, even do it any justice, to be honest. Like, in the immediate, that feeling is, like, so strong. You really just want someone else to feel it too. Like, that's where the feeling of revenge comes into play, you know? Like, but honestly, this is a pain I wouldn't wish anyone to experience. Like, when you want others to feel that same pain and you commit to it, what does it do? Like, of course it'll spark another person to have those feelings too, and boom, there you go. Cycle is born. Like, it literally goes tit for tat. But wait, you feel any better afterwards? Of course not. Like, does sharing the same pain bring back your loved one? No, it doesn't. Like, all this does is take away your peace. Like, you seek revenge and you'll never find peace in understanding. You'll never find peace in the knowledge that revenge doesn't work or solve anything. Now, I'm not saying that the grief is gone for good, because that pain stays with you forever, honestly. Like, but you learn to manage it. You learn to accept it, and you continue to move forward. Hell, it can come back around like 20 years later and make you feel like you're 14 again, sitting at the funeral. It's just waves, man. Some are shallow, but sometimes tsunamis occur too, man. Sometimes tsunamis occur. But once you find that path to forgiveness, I don't mean like not like forgiving the perpetrators or anything like that, but more so forgiving yourself for wanting to seek revenge, in a sense. Like, forgive yourself for letting the hurt drift you off your path, you know? Because in life, we always have to move forward. Time is linear. We should not be willfully becoming these creatures that can't grow because we're stuck in these loops. You know what I mean? Like, I can imagine some people are probably thinking, like, I sound mad preachy right now. Like, who is this nigga? But I feel it's necessary. Like, we got to be able to educate and teach, because you really can't fault a person for not knowing what they don't know. And when you know better, you do better, right? So some things need to be said more than once before it really settles in for some people. Like, honestly, look how many rap artists we've lost over the years due to a cycle of revenge. Big L lost his life because his brother's enemies couldn't get to him. But the perpetrators made sure that his brother still felt that same pain. Like, another Ouroboros is born. Damn. Biggie lost his life because his killers wanted his family to feel the same grief that they were feeling for Tupac's death. And the list goes on, honestly. It's like we fall into these states of arrested development, because in the moment that feeling is just so easy to sit in. Like how when you're angry about something, you kind of just want to sit in that emotion. You know, it's such an easy emotion to manage because it's so primal. It's so instinctive, and you also just want to share that, but not in a positive way, you know? But you still get that urge to spread that feeling. And I bet some of y'all are thinking, man, shut up, old head. What are you bitching about now? Nah, I'm playing. No. But, man, how does that quote go? When I became a man, I put away the ways of a child. You know, because I feel like that's what's necessary, emotionally speaking. Like, we got to be able to manage our emotions properly. Like, hurt people. That's literally how the saying goes. And if you want to stay hurt, all you're going to do is hurt others in order to stay in that state. Anyways, it's crazy, man. Like, this wasn't even the deep dive of the day. Like, I don't know, man. I just felt the need to just, like, get that off my spirit, you know? Anyways, on to the next topic. Shout outs to Yazin Bey, formerly known as Mos Def. Like a true lyrical hip hop legend right there. So he recently stirred up some controversy in an interview he did with Cutting Room Floor podcast. Shout outs to them. He was asked if he considered Drake's music hip hop. And Mos Def said, Drake is pop to me. In the sense like, if I was in a Target in Houston and heard a Drake song, it feels like a lot of his music is compatible with shopping or shopping with an edge in a certain instances. Now I'm a little bit surprised that Mos Def fell for this obvious gotcha question, but I also think he's wrong. Like in the sense that pop just literally means popular. Like easily palatable to the general population, and rap music today is popular. Therefore, since rap is part of hip-hop culture, that means Drake is in fact hip-hop. Whether he thinks it sounds like elevator music with an edge or not. Like, I'm a big fan, but the legend is just wrong here, man. Like, he's just wrong. You gotta give people the credit is due when they're wrong. Can't be a yes man, you know? But don't you find it strange sometimes how some of the people who make it to the quote unquote promised land of whatever field it is they're in this case like rap music or hip hop culture or whatever, some of them feel like they need to like become the gatekeepers or of who should come after them or they should have the authority to close the gates behind them, like simply because they might believe that the path that they took to get to where they are is the only path that should be taken because of the level of difficulty that they went through, and they feel they need to control who should come after them. Like let's honestly just try to quit the crab in the bucket mentality and just let everyone be great. Like the cream of the crop will always rise to the top anyway. So why do these gatekeepers always try to stifle the ones that come behind them? It's weird. Like, I don't even know. I don't know. All right, enough of all that. Let's get to today's deep dive. So with all the Cat Williams versus everybody stuff going on, like if you've been living under a rock lately, or should I say an internet rock? Cat Williams like recently appeared on Shannon Sharp's podcast, Club Shay Shay. It just went in on multiple comedians in the industry, like especially his terrain against Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer, and Kevin Hart. Like Cat was talking about like industry plans, and that got me thinking about today's topic of the day. The problem with award ceremonies. Actually, no, sorry, not award ceremonies. Award shows. Like the Grammys and Oscars, etc. Like the reason I corrected myself is because when you look at the history of these shows or ceremonies, they really did start off as award ceremonies. Like before all the red carpets and all the payola and purchased accolades and the corruption, I'd say. Like, but you know, not all award ceremonies were created equally. Like, did you know, just fun fact, you know that why there's a Nobel Peace Prize to begin with? They say that Alfred Nobel created the Peace Award maybe because he regretted inventing dynamite. Yes, the person who invented the Nobel Peace Prize is also the man who invented dynamite, which is crazy to imagine. Like, that's a wild statement, man. The man who invented dynamite also created one of the greatest altruistic awards of all time. Go figure. Anyways, I wanted to discuss some of the biggest snubs in award show history. Actually, specifically Grammy history, because we're talking music, right? So let's go with the Grammys. And yeah, the biggest snubs in Grammy history, and why I think there could be something a little more sinister going on in regards to them. Like the first snub I wanted to bring up was the Grammys of the 1984 Sting and the Police song, Every Breath You Take, won Best Song of the Year award over both Beat It and Billie Jean by Michael Jackson. Seriously, like, that's, come on, man. Very suspicious. Well, but then again, you know, the Grammys themselves has always been criticized since their inception in 1957 of racism accusations and just a weird elitist style of voting process itself. Like, I will pull no punches here though, and I think racism did play a role in this selection simply because this particular award, Best Song, was one of the more sought after awards than any of the other awards. Like, I guess if we're being fair, Michael Jackson did win 8 other Grammys that night, but I definitely think he should have won 9. Like, all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, let's fast forward to the Grammys of 2005. Like, I really think the Grammy committee was on one that year. Like, they snubbed Kanye to the West that year, man. Twice! First, and I think this was the most egregious snub on this entire list, was they gave John Mayer's song Daughters, which I can't even remember if I ever actually heard this song in my entire life. But it was 2005. It was a long time ago. Maybe I did hear it and just don't remember. But that won the award for Best New Song over Kanye's Jesus Walks, which I heard back in 2005. That song was everywhere. That video was everywhere. He had did he have 3 versions of the music video or something like that? Like, how do you do that, man? Like, whose rock did John Mayer have to climb to steal that award? You know, like, definitely some rock climbing going on over there. You know what I'm saying? It's just very suspicious. Don't you find that suspicious? And at that same Grammy Awards, Kanye also lost the Best New Artist award to Maroon 5, which I guess isn't really that bad since Maroon 5 actually is great. But I don't know, man. Like, I've only listened to a few so far, and there's certainly a pattern. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? Fast forward a year later to the 2006 Grammys, and of course they're still disrespecting Kanye. Like, fam, they really gave Album of the Year to U2's How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb album over Kanye's Late Registration, which I would argue is a top 3 Kanye West album easily. Like, the levels of disrespect, man. And again, I'm not saying anything, but I'm just saying the pattern just continues. You know what I'm saying? Since we're still in 2006, U2 didn't just take home the most prestigious Album of the Year award. They also took home Song of the Year with the song Sometimes You Can't Make It on Your Own. I think that was the name of the song. Like, no hate to Bono or U2, but I never heard this song in my goddamn life, sir. The Grammy committee gave them this award over Mariah Carey's We Belong Together, which to this day, like, it's been 18 years? Like, you can hear this song playing while you're shopping and you'll still sing along to it. Like, oh, baby, baby, we belong together. Like, that is a fact. Again, no disrespect to Bono or U2, but what in the fuck was that? Like, come on, man. Now we move to 2011, right? The Best New Artist snubs. This one was a bit strange to me because the nominees included Drake and Justin Bieber. Technically weren't brand new artists. However, the Grammy committee felt their careers were still young enough to nominate them. So who won? You're probably thinking either Drake or the Biebs, right? Nope. An artist by the name of Esperanza Spalding, never heard of her, won the Best New Artist award. Cue the where are they now visuals. No, that's mean. All right, moving on. All right, our next major Grammy snub, we gotta go to 2013 now. A young Frank Ocean's first album, Channel Orange, was nominated for Album of the Year. Like, that's a great album to this day, by the way. Like, still plenty of gems to listen to there. Unfortunately, lost to Mumford & Sons album Babel. Is it wrong that every time I hear Mumford & Sons, I immediately think a mom and pop style hardware store? Like, not a band or musicians. Like, it's random. Like, it's such an odd name. Like, speaking of odd names, like, Frank also lost the Best New Artist award that year to the band Fun. But I'm actually a fan of Fun. Like, their sophomore album, Some Nights, has a lot of catchy, fun songs that you can just listen to while, like, cleaning the house or whatever. Like We Are Young, for example, with Janelle Monáe. That song is great. Like, I really like that song. Anyways, it wasn't simply the fact that Frank lost to them for Best New Artist. It was just, like, there was just so much weirdness around this. Like, the weird part was the fact that Fun had been around since, like, 2009. Like, they already dropped an album, but the Grammys decided to throw them into the Best New Artist category based on the release of their second album, Some Nights. It doesn't make any sense. So how exactly does that make them new artists? Like, when it's their second... You know what? Never mind. Y'all see the pattern. I'm sure you see it. Like, I'm sure. Now, 2014. This was supposed to be the year of Kendrick Lamar. But his Good Kid Mad City lost the title Album of the Year to Daft Punk's Random Access Memory. Like, the album best known for the single Get Lucky with Pharrell. You know with the catchy hook? We're up all night to get lucky. 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 This one I say could be debatable in regards to it, because if it was a snub or not, because honestly, both albums were really good, but just based on the pattern, I still see it as a snub. Like, Good Kid Mad City had the longevity in hindsight, but from their history, the Grammy committee just doesn't really seem to vote based on how much longevity a song or album is going to have. They just seem to vote however they want with no real pattern except for quote unquote urban artists getting shafted over and over and over again. Oh man. That was also the same Grammys that Kendrick also lost Best New Artist to Macklemore. That one was crazy. Because even Macklemore ended up sending an apology text to Kendrick after the awards, letting him know that the Grammys goofed up. Like, they really goofed up. The Grammys really have, like, a weird history with, like, not really giving hip-hop artists Best New Artists very often. Like, even though hip-hop encapsulates the fastest growing music genres in the world, like, it is the most popular. Like, I don't understand. The Grammy shenanigans just continued, like, a year later in 2015 when Beyonce's album, her self-titled album, Beyonce, which had something like... That was the album that had, like, those 17 standalone music videos in there, right? I'm pretty sure, yeah. That's the one that lost to Beck's Morning Phase album. I'm sorry, but who? Shout outs to Kanye, man. Like, he really writes for his people. Because this man literally half rushed the stage while Beck was doing his acceptance speech. Like, it almost looked like it was going to be a repeat of when he interrupted Taylor Swift at the VMAs. But instead, Kanye stopped short and, like, he turned around and went back to his seat. And it was a pretty funny moment. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, but I stand with you, Kanye. Like, Beck should have given that award to Beyonce that year. Yeah. And the last snub I really wanted to mention that was just too crazy to omit is... the 2017 one when the Grammy Awards when they gave Adele's album 25 the album of the year over Beyonce's Lemonade. Like, there's no bigger you done fucked up, right, moment than when the person who won says in their own acceptance speech that this should have gone to Beyonce. Like, there's no clearer moment that this was some elitist gatekeeping bullshit than this moment right here. To me, it's nuts. Like, it's nuts. Like I personally think that the Grammys, actually all award shows, should simply be nominated by whoever does the nominating. Like the Grammy committee can do their nominations. That's fine, but then allow the people, the fans, us who watch these stupid whack ass award shows and actually consume these artists' music and movies, etc., to have a say in the voting system in a similar manner to like how the NBA handles their all-star voting. Like 50% of the votes are actually decided by the actual fans, while the players and media get like a 25% stake in each vote. So so we can basically have it in a way where 50% of the votes of the nominees, the votes go to the to us, the fans, and then 25% of the votes can be maybe the artists attending the actual award show, or the committee. The committee could get a 25% vote, and then the media, who always covers these award shows, can also get a 25% stake in the votes. That way, it just seems like more fair, right? Like it takes away all that this nonsense. Like it removes the need for all the elitism and the playing favorites and people simply buying their accolades they didn't even deserve, but they got it because they had more money than the ones who actually worked their ass off to get it. You know? Shoot. Anyways, I feel like I've said enough. Like I just feel like I've just been rambling on for this one, you know? So I'm gonna call it. Salute to the outro. Peace.